Welcome, dear viewers and seekers of the strange, to another chilling episode of our haunted storytelling series. Today, we embark on a journey into the heart of one of America's most mystifying states, New Mexico. Known for its sweeping desert landscapes, vibrant Native American heritage, and rich colonial history, New Mexico is more than just a picturesque land of enchantment. Beneath its sun-baked mesas and star-studded skies lies a tapestry woven with tales of the supernatural, where whispers of the past linger in the air like the scent of sage after rain. From ancient ruins to ghost towns, from sacred sites to cursed hotels, this state harbors secrets that defy explanation and beckon the curious to tread carefully. Episode 5 of our series delves deep into New Mexico's most haunted places, a collection of locations steeped in mystery, tragedy, and the unexplainable. These are not mere tourist attractions, they are portals to another realm, where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, and the echoes of history refuse to fade. Each site carries its own unique story, shaped by centuries of human experience, cultural clashes, and untimely deaths. Whether it's the restless spirits of those who perished unjustly, the lingering energy of battles fought long ago, or the inexplicable phenomena that defy scientific logic, these haunted locales offer a glimpse into the darker side of New Mexico's soul. As we unravel the mysteries of these eerie destinations, prepare yourself for tales that will send shivers down your spine and leave you questioning what lies beyond the veil. This episode is not just about recounting ghost stories, it's about exploring the profound connection between place and memory, trauma and transcendence. We'll delve into first-hand accounts from witnesses, historical records that shed light on tragic events, and modern-day investigations that attempt to make sense of the inexplicable. Along the way, we'll encounter apparitions, disembodied voices, shadowy figures, and otherworldly occurrences that challenge everything we think we know about reality. So, gather close, turn down the lights, and let your imagination wander as we step into the shadows of New Mexico's haunted history. Whether you're a skeptic seeking answers or a believer eager to embrace the unknown, this episode promises to captivate your senses and ignite your curiosity. Let us begin our descent into the haunted heart of the land of enchantment, where every creaking floorboard and flickering light may just be a sign that you're not alone. The haunting legacy of Fort Stanton, echoes of war and madness perched atop the rugged hills of Lincoln County, Fort Stanton stands as a weathered sentinel of New Mexico's tumultuous past. Established in 1855 by the U.S. Army, this historic military outpost served as a strategic stronghold during the Indian Wars, the Civil War, and later, as a tuberculosis sanatorium. Its storied history spans over a century, marked by conflict, suffering, and an unsettling undercurrent of the supernatural. Today, Fort Stanton is both a museum and a haunting reminder of the countless lives that intersected within its walls, some finding solace, others meeting untimely ends, and many refusing to leave even in death. One of the most persistent legends surrounding Fort Stanton involves the spirit of Captain John C. McFerrin, a Union officer stationed at the fort during the Civil War. According to local lore, McFerrin was deeply troubled by the atrocities he witnessed and committed during his service. Overwhelmed by guilt and despair, he took his own life in the officers' quarters, leaving behind a legacy of anguish that continues to resonate. Visitors to the fort frequently report hearing faint footsteps pacing back and forth in the area believed to be McFerrin's former quarters. Others claim to see a shadowy figure dressed in 19th-century military attire standing near the window, gazing out into the distance as if searching for redemption or escape. Another chilling tale ties to the fort's time as a tuberculosis sanatorium in the early 20th century. During this period, thousands of patients were treated within its confines, many succumbing to the disease despite the best efforts of medical staff. The hospital wing, now abandoned and crumbling, is said to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Maintenance workers tasked with preserving the site have recounted hearing coughing fits and labored breathing echoing through the empty halls, though no one else is present. Some describe seeing ghostly apparitions of patients wandering aimlessly, their translucent forms clad in tattered hospital gowns. One particularly disturbing account comes from a tour guide who swore she felt icy hands gripping her shoulders while leading a group through the old infirmary, only to turn around and find no one there. The basement of Fort Stanton holds perhaps the darkest chapter of its haunted history. Used as a makeshift morgue during outbreaks of illness, the space became a repository for bodies awaiting burial. Stories abound of restless spirits trapped in this subterranean purgatory, unable to move on due to the violent or tragic nature of their deaths. Paranormal investigators who have ventured into the basement report feeling overwhelming waves of dread and sorrow, accompanied by the sound of chains rattling and doors slamming shut without cause. Thermal imaging cameras have captured cold spots concentrated near the corners of the room, suggesting the presence of entities whose energies disrupt the natural environment. In one harrowing instance, a team member claimed to see a face materialize in the darkness, its hollow eyes locked onto his before vanishing into thin air. Modern-day visitors to Fort Stanton often share their own encounters with the supernatural. Overnight stays in the officers' quarters or barracks yield reports of furniture moving inexplicably, lights flickering without explanation, and disembodied voices whispering warnings or pleas for help. A recurring theme among these accounts is the sensation of being watched, an oppressive weight pressing down on guests as they navigate the dimly lit corridors. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, while others describe vivid dreams of soldiers marching in formation, only to realize upon waking that the sounds of boots hitting the ground still echo faintly in the distance, despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation. Fort Stanton remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Guided tours offer visitors the chance to explore its rich past while keeping an eye and ear out for signs of the supernatural. For those brave enough to spend the night, the opportunity to confront the ghosts of war and disease adds an element of terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are prepared to face the echoes of Fort Stanton's haunted legacy, or risk becoming part of its enduring story. St. James Hotel, Ghosts Among the Gunsmoke. Nestled in the quaint town of Cimarron, New Mexico, the St. James Hotel stands as a testament to the Wild West's gritty charm and turbulent history. Established in 1872, this iconic establishment quickly became a hub for cowboys, gamblers, outlaws, and travelers passing through the rugged frontier. With its saloon-style bar, ornate chandeliers, and bullet-riddled ceiling panels, the hotel exudes an atmosphere of rugged elegance tinged with danger. However, beneath its weathered facade lies a darker narrative, one steeped in violence, betrayal, and the supernatural. Today, the St. James Hotel is renowned not only for its historical significance but also for the restless spirits that continue to haunt its halls. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the St. James occurred in Room 18, a modest yet notoriously haunted space on the second floor. It is here that a young woman named Henrietta Thompson met a tragic end in the late 1880s. According to legend, Henrietta was the wife of a wealthy rancher who frequented the hotel's saloon, leaving her alone for extended periods. Lonely and despondent, she began an affair with a traveling salesman who promised her love and security. When her husband discovered the betrayal, he confronted the couple in Room 18, resulting in a violent altercation that left Henrietta fatally wounded. Her spirit is said to linger in the room, manifesting as the faint scent of lavender perfume and the sound of soft sobbing emanating from the walls. Guests staying in Room 18 often report feeling an icy draft pass through them, accompanied by the sensation of unseen hands brushing against their skin. Another spectral resident of the St. James is believed to be none other than Thomas Black Jack Ketchum, a notorious outlaw who once frequented the hotel's saloon. Known for his quick temper and penchant for violence, Ketchum's life came to a brutal end in 1901 when he attempted to rob a train near Folsom, New Mexico. Captured and sentenced to death, he was hanged in Clayton, a fate that reportedly left his soul tethered to the places he loved, or loathed, the most. Employees and guests alike claimed to see a shadowy figure resembling Ketchum sitting at the bar, nursing a drink and glaring menacingly at anyone who dares approach. On occasion, glasses have been known to shatter without explanation, and chairs scrape across the floor as though someone is dragging them into position, all attributed to the vengeful spirit of the outlaw. The hotel's basement, once used as storage for supplies and contraband, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Stories abound of workers who vanished mysteriously while retrieving crates, their bodies never found. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the St. James Hotel remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to spend the night, the opportunity to confront the ghosts of the Wild West, and the restless spirits it left behind, offers both terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of gunsmoke and heartbreak, or risk becoming another chapter in the hotel's haunted tale. La Posada de Santa Fe, where art meets the afterlife. Tucked away in the heart of Santa Fe, La Posada de Santa Fe is a luxurious retreat that seamlessly blends southwestern charm with modern elegance. Originally built in 1882 as a private residence for Abraham Staub, a prominent Jewish merchant, the property later transformed into a boutique hotel celebrated for its adobe architecture, lush gardens, and world-class art collection. But beneath its serene exterior lies a darker narrative, one steeped in tragedy, obsession, and the supernatural. Today, La Posada is considered one of New Mexico's most haunted hotels, where the boundary between the living and the dead blurs amidst the beauty of its surroundings. The central figure in La Posada's haunted lore is Julia Staub, Abraham's beloved wife, whose life ended in heartbreak and mystery. A woman of remarkable intellect and grace, Julia bore 8 children but suffered immense personal loss when several of them died prematurely. Overwhelmed by grief and increasingly isolated due to her declining health, she spent much of her final years confined to the upper floors of the mansion. Her death in 1896 remains shrouded in speculation, with some suggesting she succumbed to illness while others hint at darker circumstances, including depression and possible foul play. Whatever the truth, Julia's spirit is said to linger within the walls of La Posada, forever tied to the home she cherished, and the family she mourned. Guests staying in rooms associated with Julia's former quarters frequently report encountering her ethereal presence. Many describe seeing a translucent figure dressed in Victorian-era clothing gliding silently through the halls, her expression one of quiet melancholy. Others recount hearing faint humming or the rustle of fabric as though someone were moving about the room. One particularly spine-chilling account comes from a honeymooning couple who swore they saw Julia sitting at the foot of their bed, her gaze fixed on the fireplace as if lost in thought. When they called out to her, she vanished into thin air, leaving behind an overpowering scent of roses. Art plays a pivotal role in La Posada's haunting, as Julia is believed to have had a deep appreciation for creativity and aesthetics. The hotel's extensive art collection, which includes works by renowned artists such as Georgia O'Keeffe and Gustav Baumann, seems to serve as a conduit for paranormal activity. Staff members tasked with maintaining the gallery spaces often report paintings shifting positions overnight, despite being securely mounted. Some claim to hear whispered critiques emanating from empty rooms, as though unseen patrons are discussing the merits of the artwork. In one particularly unsettling incident, a curator swore she saw a brushstroke appear spontaneously on a canvas during a private viewing, an event captured on security footage and subsequently analyzed by paranormal experts. The garden courtyard, a tranquil oasis filled with blooming flowers and trickling fountains, is another hotspot for spectral encounters. Julia's love for nature is said to manifest here, with guests describing the sensation of being followed by an unseen presence as they stroll along the pathways. Fragrant breezes carry the unmistakable aroma of roses, even when no flowers are in bloom nearby. Some report hearing faint laughter or the sound of a woman softly singing lullabies, echoing as though carried on the wind. A recurring motif involves sightings of a shadowy figure seated on one of the wrought iron benches, her silhouette illuminated by moonlight before dissolving into the darkness. Modern-day investigations into La Posada's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal cameras detect significant temperature drops in key locations, including the third-floor suites and the garden courtyard. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near pieces of art linked to Abraham and Julia Staub's era. Audio recordings capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented phrases like, "I miss them," and Stay with me, adding to the growing body of evidence supporting the hotel's haunted reputation. Perhaps the most compelling discovery came during a seance conducted by a team of psychics, who claimed to channel Julia herself, relaying messages of longing and regret. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, La Posada de Santa Fe remains a sought-after destination for travelers seeking luxury and intrigue. Its blend of historical significance, artistic excellence, and paranormal phenomena creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the opportunity to encounter Julia's restless spirit, or perhaps connect with the creative energies that permeate the property, offers both terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of a bygone era, or risk becoming part of La Posada's enduring legacy. Los Alamos Ranch School, secrets beneath the pines nestled in the verdant foothills of the Jemez Mountains. The remnants of the Los Alamos Ranch School stand as a haunting reminder of New Mexico's complex past. Founded in 1917 by Ashley Pond Jr., this idyllic boarding school was designed to instill discipline, character, and a love for the outdoors in its young male students. Surrounded by towering ponderosa pines and cradled by sweeping vistas, the campus embodied the ideals of rugged individualism and intellectual growth. However, its tranquil facade belied a darker destiny, one intertwined with the dawn of the atomic age and the ethical dilemmas that followed. In 1943, the U.S. government seized the property to establish the Los Alamos National Laboratory, the clandestine birthplace of the Manhattan Project. The once bucolic school grounds were transformed into a high-security facility where scientists, engineers, and military personnel worked tirelessly to develop nuclear weapons during World War II. While the project succeeded in altering the course of history, it also left behind a legacy of secrecy, paranoia, and untold suffering. Decades later, the abandoned structures of the original ranch school have become fertile ground for ghostly encounters, drawing paranormal enthusiasts eager to uncover the hidden truths buried beneath the pines. One of the most persistent legends centers on the spirit of Ashley Pond himself, whose vision for the school was abruptly dismantled by forces far beyond his control. Witnesses claim to see a tall, distinguished figure clad in early 20th century attire wandering the crumbling foundations of the main building. His presence is often accompanied by the faint sound of horse hooves clattering against dirt paths, reminiscent of the equestrian activities that were once central to the school's curriculum. Some report feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness or frustration when encountering him, as though he remains tormented by the abrupt end to his life's work. Equally chilling are the stories surrounding the laboratory workers who toiled under immense pressure to meet the demands of the Manhattan Project. Many endured grueling hours, constant surveillance, and the pervasive fear of failure, knowing that their efforts could determine the outcome of global conflict. Tragically, not all survived the ordeal. Accounts abound of researchers collapsing from exhaustion or succumbing to accidents in the hastily constructed facilities. Their spirits are said to linger in the decaying laboratories, where visitors report hearing muffled conversations, the clinking of glassware, and the hum of machinery long since decommissioned. One particularly unnerving tale involves a janitorial crew sent to clean the area, only to flee in terror after witnessing shadowy figures in lab coats conducting experiments in an otherwise empty room. The forest surrounding the former school adds another layer of eeriness to the site. Locals speak of a phenomenon known as the Whispering Pines, where the wind carries voices speaking in hushed tones, recounting fragments of classified information or pleading for absolution. Hikers traversing the trails have reported sudden drops in temperature, accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Some describe seeing glowing orbs hovering among the trees, their movements erratic and purposeful, as if guarding something, or someone, from prying eyes. Others claim to stumble upon makeshift shrines composed of stones and twisted metal, believed to be tributes to those who perished in the pursuit of nuclear supremacy. Despite, or perhaps because of, its ominous reputation, the Los Alamos Ranch School continues to attract curious souls drawn to its enigmatic aura. For historians, it serves as a poignant reminder of humanity's capacity for innovation and destruction. For thrill-seekers, it offers a tantalizing glimpse into a world shrouded in secrecy, where science and the supernatural collide. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the property, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to confront the ghosts of Los Alamos, not merely as figments of imagination but as embodiments of moral ambiguity and existential dread? Or will they join the ranks of those forever bound to this haunted haven, their voices lost among the whispering pines? The Old Taos Jail, a bastion of despair in the heart of Taos, New Mexico, stands a relic of justice turned chamber of horrors, the Old Taos Jail. Built in the late 19th century, this austere stone structure was originally intended as a symbol of law and order in a burgeoning frontier town. However, its grim interior soon became synonymous with brutality, despair, and the unrelenting cries of those wrongfully imprisoned. Today, the jail lies abandoned, its thick walls bearing silent witness to decades of torment and tragedy. Yet, within its shadowy confines, the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced, their anguished wails echoing through time as a testament to the injustices that unfolded within. One of the most harrowing tales tied to the Old Taos Jail involves a young Native American man named Santiago Redfeather, who was arrested in 1892 following a dispute over stolen livestock. Despite his protestations of innocence, Santiago was subjected to harsh interrogations and physical abuse by authorities determined to extract a confession. Denied fair representation or access to tribal elders, he languished in solitary confinement for weeks, his pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears. According to local legend, Santiago eventually took his own life, hanging himself from the iron bars of his cell. His spirit is said to linger in cell block B, where visitors report hearing faint scratching sounds and guttural sobs, as though someone is clawing desperately at the walls. Another spectral presence believed to haunt the jail belongs to Sheriff Elias Granger, a controversial figure whose tenure was marred by allegations of corruption and excessive force. Tasked with maintaining order in a volatile region, Granger adopted ruthless methods, often incarcerating individuals without due process and extorting money from desperate families in exchange for leniency. His reign of terror came to an abrupt end in 1910 when he was fatally shot during a botched raid. Witnesses claimed to see a shadowy figure resembling Granger patrolling the corridors, his silhouette illuminated by flickering lantern light. Some describe hearing low growls or the jangling of keys, accompanied by the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. The basement of the Old Taos Jail, used primarily for interrogations and punishments, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Stories abound of prisoners vanishing mysteriously after being taken below for questioning, their fates unknown. Modern-day urban explorers tasked with documenting the site describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a photographer who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the jail frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of damp earth and decay wafts through the air despite efforts to ventilate the space. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in tattered convict attire standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Old Taos Jail remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to spend the night, the opportunity to confront the ghosts of injustice, and the restless spirits it left behind, offers both terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of despair and cruelty, or risk becoming another chapter in the jail's haunted tale. Common threads across New Mexico's haunted places. As we delve deeper into the haunted histories of New Mexico's most infamous locations, striking similarities emerge, weaving a thread of eerie consistency through their disparate tales. These patterns are not merely coincidental, rather, They underscore universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the spectral echoes of Fort Stanton's soldiers to the restless spirits of La Posada de Santa Fe, these sites share a commonality that transcends location and era, binding them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of Fort Stanton's wartime tragedies or the betrayed lovers haunting St. James Hotel, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic sites like the Los Alamos Ranch School and the Old Taos Jail, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: bedrooms where relationships ended, saloons where violence erupted, or basements where secrets were buried. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from La Posada de Santa Fe and the Old Taos Jail, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each haunted location's spectral infamy can be traced back to its founder's volatile marriage. Rumors swirled about his wife's descent into madness by her husband's infidelities. Their tempestuous relationship reached a breaking point, leaving behind bloodstains soaked into the floorboards and cryptic verses scrawled on the walls. Modern-day visitors to these haunted locales frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite strict no-smoking policies. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in tattered convict attire standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, sleep in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these locations offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint strains of music in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.